Yeah, hi guys, good morning. So in today's session, we'll discuss how, whenever we are trying to search for a website, right, on the internet, so how it is actually reaching out to the domain. So what are the things which are happening on the internet and in the backend? Okay, let me share my screen. Hope you guys can see my screen.
Yes.
Yes, right. Okay. So for example, I'm trying to search Netflix.com. Okay, so when I'm trying to put any domain name on the browser, it is trying to reach to this particular website, right? So currently this has been redirected to Netflix India. So what is this? What is this?
Web address.
Web address. Okay, but why do we need any domain name or web addresses? Apart from web address, what we can expect?
IP address.
Yes, IP address, and we can also expect
URL.
host names. This is the example of URL. Okay, so apart from that, we can expect IP address or host names. But most of the times, we commonly see these web addresses or URLs. Why? Because IP addresses will be very difficult for the users to understand. Being a layman or being just a user, you will not be able to understand or remember all the IP addresses. Can you remember the IP address of Google, Facebook, Netflix, Amazon, Hotstar, and all? That is quite impossible for us to remember. So that's where we use web addresses or the URLs. Okay, so we try to convert this IP address or host name into the domain name configurations. Okay, so now if I'll break this domain, okay, if I'll break this, let me copy one more time. What is this? HTTPS. What do you mean by HTTPS?
It's a protocol.
Right. This is a internet protocol. Okay, so we have different protocols when we are working for the operations, right? So we need to remember some basic protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, and all. Okay, and this HTTPS protocol works on the port number called 443. Now, what do you mean by port number 443? This is just a number. Okay, so what do you mean by port number? Basically, port number is something where our service will be listening. Okay, so whenever you host any application, it might be listening on any specific port number. Okay, and HTTPS will work on the port number 443. And similarly, we have HTTP, that is port number 80, and we have SSH, that is port number 22. So there are a lot of port numbers available. These are the default port numbers. Even if you want to change this port number, right, that is also possible, but these are the default port numbers which are available. Okay, so do not worry about the port numbers, you will get used to it. As we progress, you will be getting used to it. Okay, so now we have HTTPS, so this is nothing but the protocol, and then we have www.netflix.com. What is this? Domain name means for our application we can configure one domain name. Why are we using domain names? Because this will be easy for the end users to remember. From where we can purchase domain names? For example, we do have our website. Okay, so let me just check it out. This is our website. Okay, from where I have purchased this particular domain name?
I think there are
yeah.
GoDaddy.
provider,
Yes.
GoDaddy.
Yes. So there are a lot of providers. So one such provider is GoDaddy. So I will go to GoDaddy and I will check for the availability of this domain, if it is available or not. And based upon that, I mean, there will be some specific charges. So I need to pay 1,000 rupees or 600 rupees per year. And I will be purchasing this domain. And in the backend, what I will do to this domain name, I will configure my application URL. I mean the web IP address. Okay, so how are we going to purchase domain name? How are we going to configure this? This part also we'll cover in the coming sessions. Okay, so let us not discuss about this now. So this is nothing but a domain name, and then we have something called //in. This is very important, guys. So this session is very important. I mean, yesterday's session and today's session will be very useful for you till the end of the course. Okay, so what is this? For example, let me again show you something. Okay, so if I'll remove .in and hitting this, right? So www.netflix.com, automatically this is redirecting to the
International
Indian
site.
No, this is for the Indian users.
.com.
/in is nothing but India. Similarly, if I'll go to Amazon, right, for example, okay, so www.amazon.com. This is for which region? See, dollar
US.
means USD.
US.
So if you want to move to India region, /in. Okay, not available. Let me check the domain.
Amazon.in.
Amazon.in. Okay. Okay, so this is our India's Amazon.com. So same website, based upon the user, based upon the locations, it is trying to automatically redirect. Okay, so and this part we called as path prefixes. Okay, /in is nothing but path prefixes. So what is happening? It is automatically redirecting based upon my location, means it is tracking my IP and it is able to understand that I am trying to access from India. So it is automatically redirecting me to the India region. If I am trying from US, then it might have redirected to the different path prefix. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Difference between .in and /in, because Netflix.com
No.
/in.
No. So this is our domain .com.
Yes.
Okay. .in is nothing but path prefix. That is how they have configured in the backend. That depends upon website to website, project to project. .com is different. .in is different. Okay.
I have
For
a doubt, sir.
example, yes.
Okay, sir. Continue. I will ask.
No. Continue.
So, Sabir sir, you said we purchase domains from GoDaddy.com. He is one of the providers for domain. My question is, where does GoDaddy gets domains from originally?
Basically, that's from the internet. I mean, they have SOS, startup authorities.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have name servers.
Okay.
So they will be registering that on the internet. Okay, and they do the configurations for us basically. I mean, if you want to purchase one domain and do the backend configurations, right? So that's not our job. Okay, so GoDaddy is the provider for us to purchase the domain. For example, if you want internet, okay, so you want internet at your home. So will you go and get all the hardware and fix it on your terrace and try to pull it from the satellite? No, right? So you just call up Airtel or Jio, and they are, I mean, that's their headache how they are managing. They have all the cables, underground cables for the 4G and 5G, right?
Yes.
Even 5G technology in India, that is been only with one provider. Some company has been established all the 5G networking in India, and then Jio has purchased that.
Okay. Yes.
So we are not worried for how they are managing. That's their job. So let them do their job and let us focus on the configurations. Okay.
All right.
So now, so this is all about the domain. I mean, what is HTTPS netflix.com.in? Okay. So here we have different type of domains. For example, netflix.com. We have www.amazon.in. Okay. We have www.netflix.org. So there are a lot of domains available. Even you can have a domain with .test. There is a difference in between these .in, .com, .org. I mean, the difference, most of the time, the difference will be in terms of the billing. .com will be quite expensive in cost. Okay, then we have .tech, tech. Okay, so we have different domains available. Whatever domain you want, based upon your budget and all, we can plan. So now, when I'm trying to access netflix.com, okay, here we can see one lock. You guys can see this padlock.
Yes.
So how are we going to get this? What do you mean by that padlock?
It means it's secure.
Yeah, secure. How? So basically padlock means secure. Okay, so means they will configure one SSL certificate to our domain. We are going to configure one SSL certificate. That means that that will add a kind of extra layer to the website or in terms of security, and this will help us to trust. As a user, I will only trust the websites with these padlocks, and these padlocks will get with the help of SSL certificates. SSL certificates and all, how to generate, how to configure, even that part we are going to see when we are trying to purchase a domain for our testing purpose. Okay, I hope this was clear.
Yes.
So now,
Yes.
yeah, so now when I'm trying to access this website, so what is happening in the background? Okay, let me again cut this. Let me open one incognito. Okay, did you guys see anything? I mean, was there any difference? Were you able to see something in the background? No, right? So everything happened within fraction of seconds.
Yes.
We were not able to understand what happened. As a layman, no one will understand this unless and until you are aware of these operations, how they are managing. All these days, even we were not aware what's happening in the background, what is .in, HTTPS and all. So generally, so when I try to access my, right, so let me open Paint. Okay, so when I try to access my website, okay, so where I'm trying to access my website in my laptop, right? So this is my laptop and this is my browser. Yes, so I'm trying to access netflix.com or any website in my laptop on the browser. So what is happening? So the moment I'll execute any domain name or I will try to search any URL. So basically it will search for the host name or IP address. Okay, so what is happening when I'm trying to search for netflix.com? Netflix.com is been assigned to any of the IP address or the host names. Yes or no? So netflix.com, what it will do, my browser will start checking for IP address of netflix.com or the host name of netflix.com. Or else if I have added any IP address on my browser, if I'm trying to access with the help of IP, then my browser will check for the host name. If I'm trying to access for the host name, my browser will check for the IP address. Okay, so in our case, when we have started with netflix.com, it has started to check for the IP address of the host name. So where it is going to check now? Where it will, my browser will actually look for this
Server.
In IP
server.
address.
How it will know? Where are these stored? Okay, server is where we have the IP address, right? So how
Yes.
this will be understood? I mean, how my browser, which is in India, and Netflix servers, which are in US regions or India region, how are they going to communicate? How will it understand, or from where it will check? So first thing in our laptop, in everyone's laptop, we have something called
Firewall.
sorry.
Firewall.
No, firewall is again a different concepts. We have something called local DNS. DNS means domain name server. Okay, so what does a DNS contain? So basically DNS will contain, it keeps the track of host name or IP address. If it finds the IP, then it will convert it into a host name, and if it finds the host name, then it will convert it into the IP address. Okay, so what is happening the moment I'm trying to access netflix.com in my laptop browser, it is checking for the host name and IP address. So first location where it will check is local DNS. What is DNS? DNS is a domain name server. So what does it contains? It contains, or it will keep the track of all the host name or the IP addresses. So when I say local DNS, we have a file called host in our laptops. Let me open this. Okay, and see. Let me search for this location. Yeah, so this is the location. So let me try to access this. Okay, so in this particular location, we have one file called host. See this location, see Windows system32 drivers etc. Then we have one file called host here. Okay, so if I'll open this, open with notepad just once. Okay, so this is the file where it will have the tracking of all the IP address or the host name. So as of now, do we have anything here? There is some content, but everything is commented. Basically, remember one thing. Okay, so hash is nothing but comment. It will not reflect anything. This is only for our understanding. Okay, here you can see something 127.0.0.1. Then it has been mapped with one domain name. This I have did for the testing purpose previous sessions. Okay, and then we have something called localhost, and then we have some IP address here, and there is some domain name. One more IP address, there is some domain name. These are just examples. Okay, so what is happening? Where it is searching? It is searching in the local DNS, which is in the C Windows system32 drivers etc host. So at this point, do we have any configurations here? Have we stored any IP address of our Netflix or our any other websites? No, right? So what will happen? So it didn't find anything in the local DNS. So our browser was not able to find anything. Okay. So now what will happen? The request will be moved to one more domain server. Okay, then the request will be moved to request will be moved to root name server. Okay, so local DNS will ask for root name servers to get the IP address. My browser asked local DNS and local DNS is asking root name server. If it is for Linux, right? So for example, we have Oracle virtual machines, right? So if it is for Linux machines, we have the location called /etc/host. That's the file of local DNS for Linux platforms. Let me just open this. Okay, if I'll open terminal cat etc host, so this is the file, localhost file, sorry, local DNS file in Linux machines. Whereas in Windows, see Windows systems 32 drivers etc host. Here for Linux, you can get the file details from etc host file. Cat is nothing but one command. We'll talk about this in the coming sessions. Okay. So now let us get back to the topic. So what is happening? Local DNS is requesting for root name server. So root name server, what it will do? It is not at all interested in the IP address or anything. So it is only interested to know this configuration. Means it will come and it will check for this particular configuration, whether it is .com, .in, .org, .tch, which is the domain. It is not worried about whether it is Netflix, Amazon, FB, Techie Horizon. No, it is only checking for the domain name, whether it is .com, .org, .tech or XYZ. So once root name server will get the details that it is searching for .com details. So what it will do? This will again redirect the request to the top level domain. Okay, so this is checking for the top level domain. So what does top level domain will contains of? It will contains of whether it is .com, .org, .tech, .in. So all the details will be available with top level domain. Now root name server is asking top level domain to check for .com. And where this, I mean all these activities, where it is happening? This is happening on the internet. Okay. So once top level domain will get the details that our browser is checking for .com. Once it will get the details, Then what it will do? It will again send the request to one more name servers. Okay, so it will send the details to name server, or else we can call it as NS as well. So now top level domain understood that we are searching for .com, and it will send the request to the name server that this particular browser or the user is trying to search for the name server .com. So what name server will do now? Name server, basically it will identify the domain. Okay, so name server will identify the domain netflix.com, and then again it will send the request to one more SOA. Okay, full form of SOA is start of authority. Okay, so what does SOA contains? It contains information of IP address, means our domain names, all the IP addresses and everything will be stored in SOA. So once SOA get the details, okay, it will check, okay, netflix.com, this is the IP address. Then again it will send the IP address to name servers, and again from name servers it will reach to top level domain, and then root name server, DNS, and then laptop browser. This is
All of
how
this is happening in 1 second, sir.
everything is happening within fraction of seconds, not even 1 second, fraction of seconds. We cannot actually see this, but this is what happening in the backend. So my browser, it is checking local DNS, since it didn't found anything. If suppose if there is any IP address configured in local DNS, then it will redirect to the browser. Since it didn't find anything, it is redirecting to root name server, from root name server to top level domain, and then name servers, and then startup authority. So once it will get all the details, then it will send to my browser, and then my browser will be able to check for this. Understood what was happening all these days?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right, guys, others?
So now, sir, if you search it like again, so it will store in local DNS or it will be not there.
If you want to store, you can store, but as of now it is not storing anything but default. But basically what will happen is, I mean, there will be some cache memories in the machines.
Okay.
It will try to from search from there. So what is cache? The cache will help us to improve the performance.
Okay.
Okay,
So it will not store, right?
even
This way.
yeah, even if we have cache in our browsers, in our mobiles, everywhere, that is only to improve the performance. And then we have something called cookie sessions, right? It will try to
Yes.
hold the user sessions.
Okay.
There are a lot of interesting things which are happening on the internet, guys. Just focus on this. We'll try to understand how this is working. Okay, so now my browser got the IP address. Okay, so now IP address got, and then what will happen? It will try to open this page. So now where this page is stored, so what will happen there over there? So it will travel. Okay, my browser will travel to the data center wherever it is stored, whether it is in India, USA, Australia, UK, doesn't matter. It is traveling via internet. Okay, so what will happen? It will, this is my Netflix data center, for example. This is Netflix DC. DC means data center. Okay, so the request will now travel to Netflix data center. So how this is been traveling on the internet with the help of, we call it as data packets. Okay, this will travel. Shit, what is happening? 1 second, guys. So here the request is traveling with the help of data packets to the Netflix data center. So while traveling, what it will carry? It will try to get these details. Okay, it will try to host name and the protocol what we are using and the source and the destination. So all these details it will try to carry via data packets on the internet. And then it will reach to the Netflix data center. So here in data center, what is available? We'll be having our servers, right? Our machines or the configurations. Okay, we have our data layer. So which layers are we using? We are using entire architectures, right? So assuming that Netflix is also using entire architecture. So data. So this is my data layer. So we'll have couple of data layers because of high availability. Means, what do you mean by high availability? I am having multiple data layers to make sure that our application is highly available. High available means, for example, if any of these server is down, means currently I'm having 2 servers. Okay, so if one server is down, then at least there will be one more server who is going to manage all the traffic. That we call as high availability. Even if you see our self introduction, right? So we make sure our applications are always up and running, highly available. Okay, so that is what we are going to do. We don't want any kind of impact on the business. Means if Netflix servers are down, right? So there will be millions of dollars will be lost. If they are not earning, then we might not get our bonus or salaries, right? So we have 2 data layers, and then we'll have our app layer. You can have multiple 3 app layers or 2 layers just for highly availability. Okay, and then we'll have what we have.
Web server.
Web server.
Yes, we'll have our web server. And since we have multiple web servers, I will not be having multiple IP address, right? So I want high available or load should be, I mean the request netflix.com can be accessible from Hyderabad or from any other districts in Telangana. We have number of states in India, right? So anyone can access netflix.com. So I want there should be any service which will be able to handle my load on the internet. So that's where we use
Load balancer.
balancer. So we have our load balancer. So load balancer will have one IP address or domain name. Okay, and apart from this, I want to secure. Still, I want my applications to be secure. So I don't want all the requests to be redirected. So in this case, what I will do, for example, sorry, continue.
Firewall.
Yeah, firewalls. So that's where we use firewalls. Basically, what is the use of firewalls? For example, you have one, I mean, you want to go to Google Office, right? Can you directly get inside the Google Office? There will be some security persons and security checks which will be done. Means what they will do, they will check whether you have any appointment, whether you have interview, what is the reason, from where you are coming, at what time you have came, to whom you want to meet. So what that security person is doing, he is acting as a firewall, means he will try to check all the rules. If you are satisfied, I mean, if he is satisfied with all the rules, then only he will allow. Or else he will ask you to not enter the building. That's it. So even we have firewalls on the internet. So what is firewall now?
Security checks.
Yeah.
Restricts unwanted access.
Yeah. So firewall will basically have a certain rules. This is to avoid unwanted traffic, means unwanted IP address, or there might be some block list IP address which they don't want to access. And here what they are defining, for example, HTTPS. They have kept the rule that the request with HTTPS www.netflix.com should be allowed, and this firewall will filter it out. If the requests are from other domain, for example, HTTP, for example, HTTP, this will be rejected. That's how we are going to configure at the firewalls. And now what is happening? So once it got the IP address, then my request is been traveling via data packets to the Netflix data center, where it will first connect with the firewall. If the firewall thinks that okay, this request is valid, then it will allow you to reach to the load balancer. Load balancer, based upon some algorithms, there will be some algorithms configured to the load balancer. One such algorithm is round robin algorithm. This is very popular. Yeah. So load balancer, what it will do, based upon the algorithms, it will redirect the traffic to the web servers. Web servers will be redirecting the traffic to the app servers and then to the data layer. So this is what happening when we are trying to execute www.netflix.com. Let me show you one interesting thing. CMD. Do not worry about these commands because we haven't started yet. Okay, so ns, we have one command ns lookup. So this command, what it will do, this will try to get the details of your domain, means IP address and all, facebook.com. See, the moment I have executed ns lookup www.facebook.com, it is throwing some IP address. And also here we can see the alias names, means, one second, let me open this, fb.com. It is automatically redirecting to facebook.com. Have you guys observed this? fb.com. I am trying to search for fb.com. It is redirecting to facebook.com automatically. This part we called as alias. Okay, this is only one single domain. fb.com is just trying to move to facebook.com only. There is no separate servers for them. It is trying to map to the original domains only. We generally call them as subdomains or alias. Okay, so here when I have executed ns lookup, so it is showing one IP address. Let me try to access this IP address and see what will happen. Focus on the browser, guys. I'm trying to hit this IP address. It is showing some private connections. Let me proceed. Okay, still this is Facebook one only, but this is not accessible because of some firewall rules. Now let me just try to search with the help of this IPs. ns lookup command, what it will do, it will try to get the IP address of any website. If you are putting the IP address, then it will try to get the domain name for you. Okay, so now I'm trying to just search for this domain name. Here we can see some host name. This is nothing but the host name. If I'll copy this and browse and paste this in the browser, guys, focus here, hit enter, see what will happen. Where we went? We have landed again to the Facebook domain only. So this URL is nothing but the load balancer domain of our Facebook. This URL, this is nothing but the load balancer hostname of our Facebook. That's the reason it is automatically redirecting to Facebook only. Okay, so that's how they have configured. Even if you want to check for Google, Microsoft and all, you guys can check with this command. NS lookup and then domain name. Then it will throw one IP. Just copy this IP, paste in browser and see what is happening. If it is not working, then paste this IP only. Then you will find the domain name of the load balancer. Let me check with Netflix only. We have this many alias for Netflix. We have this many IP addresses for Netflix. And this is nothing but our load balancer only. Let me copy this. Okay, I have copied this particular domain. And this is been Netflix is being hosted on Amazon, because this URL is from Amazon only. This has been blocked. The HTTPS. No, this is also not working. Let me try to check with any IP address and paste in browser. This is also blocked. Just look up and then let me try to search with the IP address. Then we can see something say Reliance. Why? Because these data centers are in India region and Reliance has their load balancers and all. This IP address is not working. Let me try to access with this alias name and see what will happen. This is also blocked. They have configured a lot of firewall rules. Not working. Maybe they want the request from www.netflix.com only. Okay, so that is how everything is being configured over the internet, and all these things are happening on our browser within fraction of seconds. We cannot literally see them. Clear? Guys, let me know if you have any questions.
Sorry, about data packets, can you?
Data packets basically, this is been carried out with in data packets. I mean the host name, protocol, source, destination. Means when our browser is trying to access that, right? So this is a protocol. So this protocol, what it will do, this will try to communicate over the internet, and it will get all the details and hand over. And then based upon the details, it will try to filter it out. Do not worry, as of now, we have just started.
Okay, sir.
This topic again, we might see in multiple sessions. Architectures and load balancers, NS lookup, data packets, HTTP, HTTPS, SSH and all.
Yeah, can you show the diagram again? I have a doubt in that. In first case, when we search for any website, so laptop browser is directly redirecting to the local DNS, then root server name. In second case, it is redirecting to the data center. So I didn't get the difference between these. two directions.
First is it is checking for the local DNS and then root name and then top level domain. You are asking about this redirection?
Yes.
No. See, what is happening is first netflix.com, you are searching for netflix.com, it is searching local DNS and then root name server and then top level domain, name server, SOA. Once it get the IP address, right? I have missed this one. Once it will get the IP address, then this request will be sent back to name server, and name server it will hand over to top level domain, and then the top level domain it will hand over to root name server, and then root name server to local DNS, and local DNS will send this to our browser. So once browser will get the details, then it will try to connect to the data center. Okay.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you want, you guys can take the screenshot of this, or else you can find this in the video as well.
So both this root name server and top level domain both work same, sir. Why then two layers?
No. Root name server will check for the whether it is .com, .in, .t, ch, .org. It will filter it out, and then it will hand over that I am searching for .com domain, and then it will send to name server. Filter root name server is trying to filter out the domain name. It will try to capture the whether it is .com or what.
Okay.
Okay, let me stop this recording because I think we are good for today.